So would you say that animals is your favorite part?
You know, in terms of what I've been able to accomplish with my skill set or whatever you want to call it, yeah, in terms of um, how you know how it's progressed and everything. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. I think it's one of my favorites, and I loved it too because we had location shooting and we got to go on field trips and do all kinds of neat stuff with it. So
Yeah, I
um,
think your suggestion to use the wildlife preserve was a really good suggestion because I think that I mean, when you film an alien planet, you're on Earth,
yeah,
but I think that really uh, served as a real good location for another planet. I mean, I don't think we'd have
yeah,
been able to do that, pull it off in like a backyard or something
right,
like that.
yeah, yeah.
It really looked,
Although we did shoot in my backyard, if you
yeah,
recall. So,
yeah.
but
We had to for that, but
yeah,
for the most part, it was out there, and
right, yeah,
yeah, it was a
yeah,
really nice location.
yeah. It looks like something you would have seen on the original show. I think,
Maybe in the director's cut we can add some of the buffalo in,
Yeah, there you go.
recolorize them
Yeah,
so they'll be
put other eyeballs on them or something, right?
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. But
but
I'm happy overall with the way the film came out. It's like I told you before, and I was a little bit worried because I was like, I've seen this so many times now. I don't know if I'm being objective.
it's
it
hard. Yeah,
it kind of gets fatigued to where you're just wondering, is this working? Is this working? Like I
right.
seem to have a problem uh tracking the flow of a movie. That's when I
Mhm.
would ask you, Brady, do you think this is flowing good? Are the scenes really going together?
I think
Because
that I think it for what we shot. I think it really came together well. I think of course, any film that we do, I'm always going to say, yeah, of course I would change things. But I think with what we've gotten and the challenges we've overcome behind the scenes on camera, and then where it's gotten to, I think I'm really happy
it
with the effort.
it
So
it hard shoot, I would say that much for just the elements. It was so hot.
yeah,
And another problem we had too was the wind. The wind was always blowing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and
Oklahoma has really strong wind when you
yeah,
when you shoot outdoors. So
brings new meaning to that wind sweeping down the plains.
yeah,
But every time we shot, it was like the wind was really really blowing, and even in the
yeah,
final film, you can hear some of the wind still blowing.
yeah,
Using a windshield and everything, and the wind still got in there.
yeah,
There were at times that the wind, I really felt badly. I thought work because the wind was like when Presley was talking when she first meets Josiah, that wind is just rough. I remember the rough cut of that, and I said that's never gonna work.
oh
That
yeah,
that wind's
yeah,
that wind's too much.
yeah. It was a lot to work with, but considering what it was and where it's at, I think I'm happy with it at least, where it came to. So it could have been
And
worse.
yeah, the elements were really hard. That first day we shot out there, was that the actual first day you'd actually shot in a location like that?
I've been on locations that have been hot, but not that remote. We were
Yeah,
we were out in the country in the middle of nowhere, pretty much. If you think
yeah, and
about
then
it,
then
and
yeah,
we
and
had we
then we
had
were probably
we had to watch out for buffalo, or we were in trouble.
yeah,
And rattlesnakes and whatnot. So,
and
uh,
then there was the walk to get to the shooting spot, which probably
yeah,
took us about what 20 minutes.
at least a
Well,
half an
maybe
hour. And
yeah. So
as I recall, when we wrapped shooting that day, we were marching back on the trail. I think it was Stacy, Presley's mom. Presley and I were walking back, and you might have been behind us. I don't recall, but there was a big, I think it was a buffalo or some kind
I,
of,
I
some
might have been
kind of
that longhorn. There was a
there was
longhorn.
a
Yeah,
longhorn, and it was blocking the trail or something. So we
yeah,
kind of had to get off the trail and go up a hill to go around it, which added
yeah.
even more. And
And
we're carrying equipment, all kind of
yeah, I
cargo.
remember Nate took a picture of that thing. He's got a picture of it somewhere.
Yeah,
But that thing's horns were huge.
yeah, yeah,
And it was the only one out there. I'm thinking, where's your friends, man? What are you doing over here?
yeah,
But the heat was really hard on Presley because the first day
yeah.
of shooting, it was like the heat was overwhelming.
It
It's just
was,
like
yeah,
unexpected.
yeah. Well,
And
we're basically in a semi-arid, almost desert-like area with cactus and you know.
you might not remember this, but remember I was walking and you were on the side and you said, Michael, rattlesnake.
Oh yeah,
You remember?
yeah.
I did not
I
even
remember
see
that.
it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I didn't see it. And I'm just thinking, whoa.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
fixing to I was gonna step right on it.
yeah. I had prior to that, I've been to the Wichita Wildlife Preserve several times, but on one of my trips out there, I'd gone with a friend who's he works with rattlesnakes, so I kind of knew what to look for and where they kind of hide. So
I'm just so
uh,
happy you were actually looking at it because
oh
I didn't
yeah,
notice it at
yeah,
all. I did not notice it.
yeah, yeah. It's just it's kind of a scary environment when you think about it, So
Yeah. Could you imagine getting bit out there and then you'd have to make it back to the car, which would
yeah, yeah.
I think he's dead. Well, at least we could have got a Star Trek line in there. He's dead,
Right, yeah,
Jim.
he did, Jim.
But
uh,
that was really harsh. But I think when we actually came back to shoot there, I think we shot there 3 times.
mhm.
We
Yeah,
did Josiah and Presley,
that's
and
right.
then I believe we did. I don't think Sally was there the first day.
Well, was Sally the second shoot, and
Yeah, I
then
think she was the second, and
Josiah,
then
and the third shoot was the pickup shoot with
yeah,
Josiah and
because
Presley.
yeah,
Yeah,
Josiah had to go out of town for an acting job. He actually
yeah.
thought he was going to be working with Tyler Perry.
Oh, that's right.
Uh,
Yeah.
I don't. I know that fell through, but I don't know the details. And
Hmm.
then Presley had went to California,
That's right.
so we had to
Yeah.
wait until they got back. And when
Yeah.
we went back, it was actually I think in October, and it was kind of nice. It wasn't
Yeah.
nowhere near as hot.
The climate was better. We still had to watch out for rattlesnakes. I think it was. Yeah. It wasn't as severe as what
Yeah,
we.
I remember it being a lot cooler.
Yeah. The first shoot, I think. Did we shoot in July maybe or August? Was it that bad?
Uh, I think it was May.
Was it May? Okay. Yeah.
I
So
think so.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
have
Even
all those. I have all those files on the computer, but
yeah.
I don't want to. But I think it was May. But it was because we shot there, and then the next day we went to Arkansas to do the bridge. I mean, the bridge and the sick bay stuff.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So you remember the drive back from Arkansas
Oh
because
yeah.
it's a 4 hour drive and a 4 hour back, and we were taking turns driving,
Yeah.
and it just seemed like it took
It
forever to
it
get
did take
back.
forever. We were all so
My
tired. We were
yeah,
just tired. So
yeah. Everybody else was sleeping, and I was just like sleeping, and then you were driving, then you would sleep, and I would drive. It was just that was
yeah,
grueling.
it was grueling. Yeah, it's one of the longest car trips I've had. But
Don't seem like it took long to get there, but I think by the time we on the way back, everybody was tired from shooting and stuff. And
yeah, well, and I think I recall we were driving at what 1 or 2 in the morning too.
yeah,
So
I think we didn't, I think it was daylight when we got back.
yeah, just about. Yeah,
Yeah, it's going to be morning.
yeah.
I don't,
So uh, and we had Josiah there too. I remember in the
yeah,
van. So and thank God for Josiah because that guy can make you laugh, and
yeah,
you
always
need that when
joking.
you're on a long car ride. So yeah,
Yep, always
but
joking.
yeah. So
So,
but it was as grueling and as tired as we were, it's a great memory.
yeah,
So
and we made it home safely.
we
So,
did. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, but I think that was the longest 4 hours I've ever seen.
yeah. I agree.
We,
Yeah.
we could have put in Titanic and we'd been home by the end of the movie.
Yeah. Or what is it? The director's cut of the two or the Return of the King or something, I
Yeah,
guess.
that
But
or the director's cut of King Kong,
oh yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but
which was already a long film to begin with.
yeah, right. Wow.
So we
Uh,
shot on the preserve, then we shot in Arkansas, then we shot in the backyard of your home for a pickup
Yeah,
scene.
yeah. My
And
my old
remember,
house. Mhm.
originally, we were going to shoot Josiah and the alien battling at the preserve.
Yeah.
But once we got there, we realized. Now, I don't know if you know. Do you know Nathan Ice?
I didn't know him well. No.
He was
Any,
actually a judo student, and
okay.
I had discussed with him. I'm wondering. Since Josiah has to do a hand to hand battle with the alien, can you go through some moves and kind of choreograph the fight?
Oh yeah.
So we did. We actually went to I don't know the name of the really big park in Norman with the stadium. What's that? You know the park I'm talking about? It has that like little stadium for concerts and stone
Oh
seats.
yeah. I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name off
I
the
don't
top of
remember
my
the
head.
name of it, but we actually went there and trained. They trained their moves and they did all this choreography and everything. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be a nice fight scene. Then of course we get out to the preserve. There's rocks everywhere, so we can't really do any falls.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the mask obscured his sight so much he really couldn't see how to do his moves.
Yeah.
So we had to drop that whole thing, all the training and everything. I don't know if you ever knew that, but yeah, all the training and everything.
I think I
We could not.
recall, yeah, something about that on set when we were filming. And if I recall, the actors were sweating so profusely under the
Yeah,
mask that they were even, it was getting in their eyes, even,
yeah.
I couldn't see
So
well. So,
so we couldn't do it. So that's why we ended up not shooting the fight scene out there.
yeah.
And so much time had passed with Josiah and Presley being other places, it kind of got forgotten.
Yeah.
And and I don't remember how it came back up. I don't even remember how we decided to look at the script again and say, "Hey, we didn't get this."
Yeah.
Uh, it,
Maybe it was in one of the rough cuts that we had done, and we were kind of looking at it and thinking about where we needed to to fill in some more.
and I remember
Uh,
being really, really disappointed that and that's when I would say that, I don't get mad on set or anything like that, but I would say probably, I said frustration, but maybe a little disappointed
mhm.
because, uh, there's an old saying that every film you make is going to break your heart.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I really believe that because
Mhm.
you're going to have changes that you have to do because they don't, or there's going to be scenes that you want to do, but you can't do them. And
Right.
I felt like the fight scene was important
Yeah. Yeah.
because when I wrote Animals, what I wanted to do was didn't have it to where everybody was just dialogue.
Mhm.
Uh, so I wanted to kind of pace it with some conversation, then maybe a little action,
Yeah.
conversation, then a little action, and
Mhm.
we didn't get the fight scene. And I remember telling you, I'm really disappointed that we didn't get this fight scene. I wish there was some way where we could shoot it. We can't go back to the preserve because it's not going to work out there. And you said, well, we can shoot it at my house,
Mhm.
and so we got Josiah and Presley to get, and then we did that scene with Presley where he comes out of the underground bunker.
Yeah.
So
Right.
we shot that, and
Yep.
then we shot her scene where she actually we had to shoot quite a bit of stuff
Yeah, we
because
got quite a bit done at the house.
yeah.
So,
Well, we shot that scene where she's in the distance looking, and then we shot that scene
yeah.
where Josiah goes into the bunker. Then we
Mhm.
shot the scene where Josiah fights the alien.
Right.
And so we actually shot quite a bit of stuff there.
Yeah.
And it was you with the genius vision to aim the camera up so we would miss just the house
Yep. Yeah, the house
and all of that.
and the landscape too, to some degree. So,
And then we
um,
even shot the scene with Reagan that we didn't end up using, but we
yeah.
shot that scene. So we actually, and I think we were only there for maybe, we weren't there very long to shoot all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, because our actresses needed to be on the road, I think.
Yeah,
So
because
we only
it
had
was
them.
Presley's grandmother's birthday, I believe.
Yeah. So they only had, we maybe only had 4 hours max with them, I think. And yeah, so we had to get all their stuff done. Did we shoot that first? Does that sound about right?
Yeah, we shot Presley stuff first.
Yeah, and then they were able to head out, and then we took care of Josiah's the fight sequence there, with him.
And I
So
remember we actually pulled out the green screen. I don't know how we were going to use it, but in the
yeah,
end, you ended up not using it.
yeah.
What was it actually going to be for? I don't remember what we were going to use it for.
Well, the green screen was going to be the control panel that he
Oh,
accesses, but I think when we got it out and we set it up, I don't know what hit me, but I was like, you know what? I've got a storm shelter that if we filmed it at certain angles, it could look like an underground bunker, and with the right kind of sound effects, we can make it sound futuristic, and so we ended up doing that instead, and in post production, I just tracked in the control panel on the wall that had him punch a concrete wall basically and do that. So
it worked
um,
out really well.
yeah. I mean, you can't have a Oklahoma made film without a storm shelter, right?
Yeah, I'm
A
glad we didn't
tornado
have wind
shelter.
down there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, but
And even when we shot there, I don't remember it being really hot, but I remember when Robert had that. I mean, we had to keep stopping to take it off because and giving him water because he was getting so. And I guess the nature of that mask, rubber on your
yeah,
face, it was just getting
yeah,
super heated up. And
yeah. It's a little
but
greenhouse when you put it on, I guess. But
and one
um,
thing I noticed too about that scene with Josiah and Presley is that the sound is really good in that scene.
yeah, right. We didn't
Yeah,
have the
it
wind so much.
yeah, it sounds
So
really good.
yeah.
Now, one of the things about the film that a lot of people have really liked is the opening sequence.
Hmm.
Uh, what would you say was your inspiration behind the battle?
Uh,
Before you answer that, now what I will say is that one of the things about this film when I was writing it was that I wanted to recreate uh, the respect that the Enterprise had in Star Trek. Everybody loves the Enterprise. So I wanted to make the Valiant her own character. I wanted her to be a hero ship. I didn't want anything bad to happen to the Valiant this time around. I wanted this ship to be, we hear so much about the future ships and other shows, how powerful they are and all this kind of stuff. And I wanted the Constitution class to be the highlight because I don't think it's really ever been done to show this ship being top of the line at one time in Star Trek. I
right.
mean, this class of ship had to be just so awesome when it was
Hmm.
first made.
Right. Right.
Advanced, tough. And I
Hmm.
wanted a ship that, I wanted to say these aliens are a match for a Constitution class.
Hmm.
They're just outmatched.
Right.
So,
Right.
and I think when I look at that opening, I kind of, and I could be wrong, but I kind of take to heart that you kind of felt that way too about how tough the ship is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a beautiful ship for one. It's great design, and
And
then
now that you say that, Brady, I've always liked, if somebody say, "What's your favorite Star Trek ship?" I
yeah.
usually say the refit.
Yeah.
But
Right.
but watching this ship and seeing all the different renders you've done and everything, I honestly I kind of lean towards the TV Enterprise now.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
gave me a new respect for it.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I wanted to film at angles that we don't always get, and also we were doing the film in a widescreen aspect, which is more cinematic. So I wanted really to use the ship in that frame, in this way. And I was also inspired because Craig uh, did the model for the ship. He built it.
Beautiful model,
It
Craig.
is
You know,
fantastic. Yeah.
Craig for the longest for Crosses the Bear, which his effects in Crosses the Bear are just great.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, I
Right.
love his effects in that show. It's so subtle, and
Yeah.
that just goes to show you, special effects guys. They a lot of times they don't get the credit they deserve because after the last girl passed away, Craig did this shot of the ship coming in the frame. Everything's all dark, and so
Yeah.
many people have said it looks like the ship is mourning.
Yeah. Right.
And
Yeah.
I just thought that was just beautiful what he did there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, that model was basically just the TV model.
Yeah.
But he always said that he wanted to build his own model,
Hmm.
and that's the model that that you used for animals.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
lots of props to Craig for doing that because he did that model's beautiful.
yeah, and it films. It looks great on film, and what I love about it too is it's kind of an intermediary step from what we've seen on the original 5-year mission on the original Star Trek show, and it kind of shows subtle steps being taken towards the refit. With
Yeah,
the blue engine grill and the
almost
blue.
like an experimental
Yeah,
ship.
yeah, yeah, and extra phaser points.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
that was my way of thinking when I made it because the
mhm,
one line where Menard says, or where Bishop says, uh, channel the phasers through the warp engines, that
right.
was a reference to Star Trek: The Motion Picture, but it was
Yeah.
just kind of experimental in this film.
Right. Yeah. So that kind of opened up a lot of doors for me to say, oh, what if it fired at this angle or from this point? And so when we open the film, we have it basically being chased and pursued by two ships. And uh, I just thought, well, hey, the ship is confident in what it can do, so it's not going to bother really turning around. It's
Well, the
on a
interesting thing,
mission.
what I thought was really kind of dynamic and interesting about that was that, yeah, a Constitution is armored or has armory on the back. It
Right.
always has, but you never see it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have said, well, not a lot, but some people have said, "Oh, okay, we're opening up a Star Trek show with a battle. Yeah, great." but the thing is, I really feel like we weren't being overindulgent and that it was for the story. I
Right.
mean, the importance of the Valiant just going forward and not even turning around,
Right.
because there's been references in the original series where Kirk said, "Let's turn and fight."
Right.
But this mission was kind of vital. They had to get to the planet, so they really didn't have time to turn around. The
Uh-huh.
getting to the planet was the important part.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
think that was a really dynamic opening because it's something that we and me and you are always saying let's do something different.
yeah. Right. Yeah. And that was kind of fun to play with that and do it. And then for me, we're taking the ship into a war zone, so it's on a direct mission for that planet, and yes, it's being pursued, but it's going to fight because it's armed to pursue or to fight back, if something's behind it, so um, I wanted to showcase that too.
What did you think of the Dragon ships?
Great design,
Yeah,
beautiful, and really it was hard to pick some camera angles because there are so many good vantage points with it. And I just really love the design of the engine mounts, how they go out. It's kind of got this swooping design, and the spherical shape at the front is really cool.
yeah. That
um,
that was that was Craig. He actually sent me, I believe, 3 designs
yeah,
for the Dragon ship, and I thought that one was the most dynamic. I thought that
yeah,
that one to me looked the most TOS.
yeah, yeah, I agree.
And
Yeah.
one thing that I don't think I've told you, but given the fact that it's a stealth ship,
Hmm.
I like that you made it shiny, like that was
Yeah.
some kind of cloaking material on it to make it more
Right.
stealthy.
Yeah.
So that was a nice touch.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to showcase that every everybody's going to have their own combination of alloys and metals that they're going to use in their construction. So who's to say
Exactly.
what theirs is,
Yeah, they're
So
probably not using titanium like Starfleet.
right, right, exactly. So
And, another thing, and I don't know if you did this on purpose or not, but after the Valiant destroys the one ship, we cut to the shot of it moving forward and
yeah,
firing from the back. Now, one thing that I really love about that shot is that you see the name.
yeah,
It to me it says I'm the Valiant, I'm badass,
sure,
and you guys you can't touch me. I like the fact that the Constitution is like I'm the best.
right, right,
That I just love that scene because it just to me that was just a hero shot.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's great. It just I don't know. Sometimes when you plan these shots out or whatever, you just get it's like writing. When you write a script, inspiration hits, and You try
Well,
something.
I got
So
to tell you, Brady, that opening, and another thing about in the original script when I wrote that scene, it was inspired by the opening of Star Wars,
right. Yeah.
and that's when I was on my Star Wars kick. I was pissed off at Disney and the Star Wars films.
Yeah.
They totally disrespected the original trilogy. And when I was writing that, I was like, I'm going to write a scene that, honors Star Wars. So that's where that
Yeah.
scene comes from. I see
Right.
Star Wars when I watch that.
Yeah.
But that scene, that entire scene, to me, it's perfect.
Hmm.
Your musical choices are perfect.
Thank you.
The
Yeah.
sound effects are perfect. And that shot after the other ship turns and the torpedoes miss,
Oh
and you
yeah.
hear
Hmm.
this huge crescendo of music that
Hmm.
just says "I'm the hero." That's
Yeah.
just it's great. And
Thank you. Yeah.
what was your frame of mind when you were mixing that music to show that rise of it? That's I'm triumphant. She won. How did you even decide on
I
doing that?
I have to inspiration for that has total credit has to go to Jerry Goldsmith because the guy knew how to score a movie, and we all are familiar with his soundtracks. And anytime the ship came on, there was always this really wonderful, uh, you know, theme that he had for it. And so, even though we were working with stock music, I'm not a musician. I don't create music, so um, I was really had to go through a lot of music selections and just find something that really felt right for that.
Well,
Um,
it's like you gave me the music,
yeah.
and I really like the music in the film,
Uh-huh.
but I when I first listened to it, I'm hearing snippets from one of the songs, and then the rest isn't in there, and you've mixed it together, and I'm thinking, where's the song?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like sometimes you have to listen to a minute of music before you even get to the part you used.
Right.
But
Right.
I mean, I think the music is really cinematic.
Thank you.
I really
Yeah.
love the music.
Yeah. I
and
I
and even though it's different themes, to me it all feels like it was the same person doing it.
Yeah, yeah, and I think, gosh, I probably used what, 10 composers, 10 different ones, maybe
Yeah,
7 or 8.
or
But
maybe more.
yeah, but I tried to find music, hopefully that would fit kind of what we were familiar with to some degree. So,
Were you
um,
happy with the opening scene? Is there anything you would change now in retrospect?
someone had a comment of maybe you should put motion blur on the models or something. Ship scenes. I think if I could go back and redo, yeah, of course, there's things I would redo, and yeah, there's a couple things, but overall, I'm happy with it. Considering a lot of the positive comments on the effects. It's very rewarding to put a lot of that work into it, and then people appreciate it. So,
Well,
uh,
it's like you can spend a whole lot of time on a film
yeah,
and you can feel exhausted and you can feel like you're just out of it. And then one giving you a positive comment can really perk you up and make you
yeah,
feel like they appreciate what you did, and
right,
that's always
yeah,
so nice.
yeah. It's great, and I'm happy. I'm happy with it overall. Like I said, I'm really happy with how the planets turned out, how they look.
Now,
Um,
speaking of planets, that first planet when it opens, is that the one that you modeled? Wasn't it a skillet?
yeah, so talk about finding inspiration anywhere and everywhere. I think the first, so there's a
It's the
kind of
smaller
a
planet, right?
yeah, there's a reddish planet, and then there's a smaller one that's kind of cratered, and that's actually a photograph of a frying pan, and
Yeah.
and it's like I think it's probably like grease or something that's left over, after you've scooped everything out. So I basically took that photo and wrapped it around that sphere, and then adjusted the colors, and there's some tricks you can do in 3D modeling that bring out the depth of what you've taken a picture of, so it makes it look three-dimensional. So Yeah, there's frying pan food, made out of planets,
Yeah,
or
it's
planets made out of
amazing.
that. So and
Things
and
that you'd
it's
never.
it's funny because Michael, you recently gifted me with that Dan Curry book about visual effects, and there's a snippet in there for Voyager. One of the episodes, uh, the effects guy used dog, dog remain, well, not dog remains, but dog waste, to put
Yeah.
it kindly. He took a close-up picture of what his dog had left in the grass, basically, and they used that to texture a planet
Wow.
in one of the episodes. So,
You'd have
uh,
never thought that.
it's just like, okay, when I read that, I was like, okay, I'm on the right track here. I must,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay. I don't feel bad about using a pen now.
yeah, right. So, it's just fun what you can use and pull from to create visual effects. I think that's part of the fun with it. So,
Now, one
um,
thing I'll say too is that your transporter effect looks quite a bit different than what we're used to.
right.
Uh, I feel like it had almost a three-dimensional effect to it to me.
Hmm. Yeah.
What were your thoughts going in about how you were going to do it different this time? Because it's different than uh, had you done a transporter before this? I don't think that we've actually used one.
I'm trying to think if I think,
No, because we didn't use one in Legacy or Ties That Bind. No, this is
yeah,
actually the first time you've done one,
yeah,
other than the fundraiser video you did.
right. Yeah, we did do it there. I think for this one, I used a particle generator, to, it's basically a plugin in the software that creates particles and then you can spin them around or whatever. So, um, I use that to kind of, every particle is in a different space, in 3D space or whatever. So hopefully, you mentioned it being kind of almost three dimensional. That was kind of my plan there, because the original series, I think they stirred glitter in a tub of water or something, to create that effect, and so I tried to mimic it to some degree, but also using what I had, at my disposal for that. So, uh,
Well, I liked it. I thought it was great.
thank you, thanks. Yeah, it was fun to work with and try to make happen. So.
What did your what were your thoughts when you created the electrical weapon for the Dragon ships?
I think when you have a battle like that, you want to show that both sides are different and how they approach things, and design and weaponry even, so um, I think there's a line from Nova later on in the film that she says, you know their weapons are designed to inflict maximum pain or damage, and so I thought, well, what if their energy looks almost like it's uncontrolled when it leaves the ship or whatever. So it looks like lightning, it's almost like a lightning bolt that it's not really channeled, like a phaser beam is a straight beam kind of a thing. And what if they're like, oh, well, we'll just shoot this bolt at you and you you take the damage from that kind of a thing. So that was kind of my idea. I don't know if I pulled it off necessarily, but uh, at least hopefully it looked different than anything else.
Well, I think in the scheme of the film, it was probably unexpected, so it was probably surprising when you first saw it.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
Just
that one shot of the Valiant just kind of moving towards the camera with all the energy sparking
yeah,
everywhere was that was pretty cool.
yeah. And part of that was kind of inspired somewhat by the motion picture, when V'ger hits ships too.
Uh,
There's that kind of field of electricity around them or whatever. But um, I just wanted to show that, hey, they're shooting crazy stuff at you guys, and it's uncontrolled and goes everywhere, kind of a thing. So maximum damage, So
yeah, it's too bad that we didn't get to use the Goat Boy makeup very
oh
much since
yes,
he was. Yeah, I remember Nate worked on that for so long that
yeah,
day, and I thought it was a shame that we didn't get to show him off more. And I remember saying to you, Brady, can we get a couple of shots of the goat guy's makeup?
Yeah.
And you kind of thought, well, it I don't think it would really work because, in Star Trek, they're not going to really focus on a minor character like that. And
Right.
I mean, so we didn't end up using it, but
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
makeup on it was really good, and
It
and he
was.
was in the shot for. So Nate, I can't give enough credit to Nate. I mean, all we had was a half a mask
Yeah. Yeah.
and no hair or nothing, and he just created the rest of that.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks so realistic, and it fits the universe we're in, So,
Yeah. So
but,
once again, I wanted to be as diverse as possible in this episode,
right,
and I think that one of the things that with these new guidelines, you can't have a lot of characters. There's
right,
just not enough time. I mean,
yeah,
one or two at the most, your central characters, because you
mhm,
just you just don't have the time to focus on so many. And I always kind of think back to this time, and I think back to the original Twilight Zone.
yeah,
I think how Rod Serling was able to write really great characters sometimes in a 30-minute show.
yeah,
So I know it can be done,
yeah,
and it's kind of funny because when you think about inspiration, you usually think about, well, at least to me, I think about the older stuff.
right, yeah,
So yeah, I think about the original Star Trek. I think about Rod Serling, who I have the utmost admiration for. I just think he was brilliant.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Most of the Twilight Zone episodes he wrote them. So
yeah, and
yeah,
you think about that era of science fiction, just really incredible.
yeah, you
What they
were.
were,
Could you imagine? I wasn't there, but seeing things that had never been done before, that would have been
yeah,
so
yeah,
great.
yeah, and
Twilight Zone is a show that I even return to now and watch. It just
oh
never gets
yeah,
old.
yeah, yeah. None of that ever it gets old or as much as some people might laugh at effects or whatever, but the stories are timeless. They're always going to
Yeah,
be.
and
So
it's pretty incredible when you can write something back in black and white TV and it's still
yeah,
more relevant now than it was back then.
right, yeah, yeah, and
So
that's the power of science fiction, I think.
Rod
So
Serling and Gene Roddenberry, I just think they were really visionary. I mean,
yeah,
now of course you can't lay creation on one person, and there were a lot of other people that made Star Trek and these shows what they are today. And that's not
right,
to belittle any of those guys, but
hmm
they had an idea, and it's just something that resonates with people
yeah,
to this
and
day.
yeah, and it took off, and here we are, half a century later, still talking about it.
Yep.
It's amazing,
And
really.
still being inspired enough to make films about it.
Right, yeah. Uh, it's just
The the Sukalon, or the Dragon uh, battle on the planet, was that a really difficult scene to do in terms of special effects?
uh, I don't want to say it was super difficult. I mean, it
That was the
wasn't.
first scene that you actually completed, wasn't it? In terms of special effects,
Yeah, yeah.
what
I
what
think.
made you want to? Why did you want to tackle that scene first?
But I think because so basically, once you've created the weapons and all of that, the firing, it's kind of easy to take that same effect and start putting it on each other shot. So when you start your first one, you put all your time into that one, and then after that, as you go, and you kind of speed up your progress as you go because you're doing it repetitively. So for me, we were happy with the edit without all the weapons in there, and so I really wanted to get that scene done and just kind of see what it would look like with all the weapons and the
I
sound
remember you
effects. So
saying that. I remember you saying that you wanted the fight to be really frenetic and just kind of crazy,
yeah, yeah,
because it was kind of like a situation where they just beamed in,
right,
and their way of thinking is, we got to take these guys out as fast as possible. Let's just get it
right.
done.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It was a surprise attack. That element of surprise, was thrust upon them, and here they are trying to fight back, and you've got all these crazy energy bolts coming at you, and they're throwing up dirt and rocks, and probably getting in your eyes or whatever. So um, it's going to make for a tough battle situation. So
It was kind of funny because I remember, not only was it hot out there, but the heat just created so many problems,
yeah.
and the costuming, all the glue that we used on like boots, everything was just coming apart.
Yeah, was it
I mean,
Josiah's
I
shoe
think
fell
we,
apart?
yeah, I
Yeah,
think we went through 3 pair of boots
yeah, yeah,
on him, and
right.
it's like, I only had like maybe, and I guess this is me not thinking about location shooting, because normally, 1 pair of boots would be enough.
Yeah,
But out there on the terrain, those boots are just, they're not really made for any kind of and stuff.
yeah.
So,
Which is funny. I thought about that recently because I watched the original series episode with the Gorn. The title's escaping me at the
arena.
moment. Arena. And I noticed, if you ever notice when Kirk is down on the planet, he's got different shoes on. They actually have shoelaces in them. So,
Oh, I
uh,
hadn't noticed.
yeah, yeah, check it out. It's they're almost like sneakers in a way, like black sneakers. Um,
Oh,
so
wow,
they
I hadn't. See, that just goes to show you something else I didn't notice.
Yeah, yeah. So I noticed that recently watching it, and I was thinking, okay, if we do location shooting again, we'll have to remember that
Yeah,
trick. So,
yeah, because he
but
he went through, and you think about cost. Those boots, $40 a pair,
yeah, right.
and
Uh,
none of us are multimillionaires, so and then the props themselves, they were just uh falling apart. The medical scanner, it kept falling off. The tip kept falling off.
the phaser
Sally
rifle, the
Sally's insignia was coming unglued, and
yeah, yeah,
I don't know. I think we went through 2 costumes for Sally, because initially she was supposed to be an ensign. We had the ensign costume,
that's right.
but
Yeah,
somehow that costume was lost
I remember that.
between
Yeah.
Arkansas and back to Oklahoma.
Hmm.
And so, we got back out there, and I thought the costume was packed in the deal all this time, where I put Josiah's. When we got there, it wasn't there. So
Yeah.
we had to improvise and use another costume where she was instantly a lieutenant.
Yeah.
But but the bad thing was that we'd already recorded the dialogue with her being an ensign.
Ensign. That's
And
right. Yeah.
Josiah, at the end of the episode, he said Ensign Nova. And
Yeah.
I told you, Brady, we got to cut that ensign out, because
Yeah.
we don't have it don't reflect her costume.
Yeah.
So it's like that. It's like I was just totally unprepared for
Hmm.
location shooting and the
Yeah.
problems you have with it.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and then the phaser rifle just kept falling apart.
Yeah.
It was just really really a harsh shoot. And but now when you watch it, I mean, me and you were there, so we can see the things, but
Yeah.
it's not really I mean, given the circumstances, I think it came out really good.
It paid off really
And
well. I'm very happy with it. Yeah.
and a lot of fans, some, well, not a lot, but some will be technical, and they'll say, well, I like the film, but the planets are not lining up right. And one shot it's here, one shot it's there. But
Sure. Yeah.
I'm thinking it's probably a different time, though.
Yeah. I think
No,
when it was below horizon, I think that was kind of one of the criticisms. Is I was thinking, we're going through this kind of slow montage. Let's show that time is passing because Josiah's going on a long walk, and he's left Nova behind. So it's kind of showcased. And I think that shot where she's sitting with her back up against the rocks and we see the setting moon, I think it was later in the day. That might have been one of our last shots because the sun has changed position by then too.
but
So
one thing about being outside was that it was really nice that we didn't have to worry about lighting. That was really kind
yeah,
of nice.
yeah, yeah. We didn't
It's
have to concern ourselves too much with that, and
just
I think it worked in our favor too to have harsh daylight because it creates, I was able to use that to kind of create alien feel in a way,
yeah,
So
just one less thing we had to worry about.
yeah, right. Yeah, there
But
was enough to worry about. Believe, yeah. So
the planet stuff was really it was really nice. I'm so glad that we went there. I think that was really a great suggestion.
yeah, that's I that's one of my favorite things about the film is that location. It's
And
just
you had been there once already, right?
I've been several times actually over the years, and
Oh,
I've always thought it would make a great spot for a film, and here we
well,
are.
you remember when the cop came out there
Yeah,
and
the one of
and
the
he yeah, he said, "What are you guys doing?" And we said, "Well, just making a movie. Is that okay?" And he said, "Well, as long as you don't make any money off this, it's fine." But
right, yeah,
so I
yeah,
mean, he was pretty nice.
yeah. He
And
was
then of
nice,
course,
and
Nate had put fake blood on that rock. And I remember when the cop came, I was like, man, I hope you don't think we came out here and killed somebody.
oh right, yeah,
And I'm assuming that blood washed away after a while.
yeah. I think it was like a what was it, egg based paint maybe or something. I don't know,
Yeah, I
but
think so.
it just washed right off. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad we did it. You know, so.
Remember your what was your inspiration behind the burning building in the background?
I think you had mentioned originally you wanted scaffolding, um, and
Some kind of remains for a village.
yeah. So I found, I didn't have time to build 3D models from scratch, so I kind of had to hunt around and find something that I could use. And
Isn't it great that you can just pretty much what you need, you can just get it?
yeah, you can get it,
You
and you have a license to use it, and so that's what I ended up doing. And the concrete pillar that's kind of cut up, and then the building in the background. Um, I I really wanted to lend the idea that we've lost a settlement here, so kind of like an arena, they beam down to that colony that's been,
Cestus 3.
yeah, Cestus 3. It's been kind of blown to smithereens, so. But
Well, you remember, we were talking about props all just heating up and being destroyed. You remember the grenade launcher?
yeah,
Yeah, that came apart.
yeah,
We
I
had,
think
yeah, we actually had to have the makeup girl wrap black tape around it because it
that's
just kept
right.
falling up. It's like I don't
Yeah,
know. I guess it was the heat,
yeah,
but
it
because
wouldn't stand up right at that point,
yeah,
so
I think that the metal standing just kept falling.
yep, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So yeah,
it took a lot of abuse too, because it was in
yeah.
that backpack and it had to come out quick and all of that. So
Yeah, I kept thinking people were gonna say, "What the heck's this guy got in this backpack? Everything is in this backpack." I really one thing that's pretty much a lot of people agree with this film is that the actors are really good,
yeah,
and and Presley are really good in this.
absolutely.
One of the comments was that they thought it was just it's just a fan film, but they
Uh,
they really they really thought that the direction on the actors was good,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it made my job easy
yeah, right.
because uh it's the difference of knowing that they're actors versus just somebody that hasn't acted before. Because
Right.
if you watch Presley's mannerisms when she's in that scene with Josiah, there's a lot of her own stuff.
Yeah.
Like when after she revealed that you're prejudiced, and he says something like they're always going to be trash, and I don't know if you've noticed, but if you watch that scene, watch her head. She gets in this whole attitude where she's just moving her head while she's listening to him,
Right. Yeah.
and I,
Yeah. She
and
was
I didn't
really good at reactions.
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't tell her to do that,
Right.
but she did a great job of just doing that. And then when she said you have to learn that the world's bigger than just black and white, and she pats his shoulder,
Yeah.
I didn't tell her to do that,
Right. Yeah.
but
She's
it
a
works.
natural. Yeah.
And one thing that you did that was really back to Josiah, you see a shot of Presley as the camera pans down,
Yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
originally that wasn't there.
Right. Right.
So what made you decide to put that in?
I think it's it's just one of those things. Editing's a lot like writing. You have your words, but with editing you have your visuals. So sometimes you look at a shot later on after you've done an edit and you go, oh, maybe this will work. And I think that was just one of those things that uh, ended up happening, because I think initially you might have, if I recall, you requested the Josiah to be on the screen a
Well,
little longer at the end.
yeah.
And then the front of that shot, I thought, oh, well, what if I include this as well? And that kind of grew into it, So, which, I'm really happy with it. I think it worked out really nice. So,
So we've been on for a while now, and we're actually went over the 40-minute mark, so I was expecting it to
I th-
stop.
I thought so too, but it's still saying it's recording. So,
Yeah, I can see it on my screen too, but I was
yeah,
kind of expecting it to stop.
yeah.
But overall, Brady, I want to thank you for believing in the story because you always believed in the story. You always felt like it was something worthwhile to say,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and
Well, and thank you
and
for writing it. So, and
you've always been really supportive, and I appreciate that so much. Uh, you've always been honest. You've always given your opinion. You've always thought that told me when you didn't think this would work and that would work. And I don't know, 7 years. We've never had an argument, so
no.
something must be going good.
Well, I look at it. Hey, it's friends getting together, having a good time, and that's for me. That's what a chance to work with you is every time. So,
Yeah, it's a
it's
highlight. It's a highlight in life to
yeah,
actually, because
it,
it's like a retreat. It's like just having
yeah,
fun. It's
yeah, yeah. It's as adults, you look back on childhood and you always think, oh, yeah, I remember going over to the neighbor's house to ring the doorbell and say, hey, can we go play or whatever. And now that we're older, we're kind of doing that in a different way. We're just, hey,
still kids.
got the script, let's go. Let's grab the camera and go. So it's
two
always
two
fun.
two things. One, um, how does Jaina feel all about the Star Trek thing and the fan films and all that? The
Uh, she loves it. She she'd been in one. So uh, actually, I think she'd been in a couple. Um,
Yeah, that was no kids ago though.
yeah, that was a long time ago. But she loves it because she knows it's fun for me, and as much as I work, it's also important to have time to play. And
did she has she seen the finished film?
she has, yeah. She's seen every cut and every iteration of the film, so she's kind of gotten to watch it grow into what it's
Has
become. So,
has she ever offered any kind of critique or
oh,
suggestions or anything like that?
oh yeah, I'll ask her, hey, do you think this works or whatever? And for this film, she said it really felt cinematic, and that was nice to hear. It was really good to hear that all the steps we took to kind of up our game, with this film, have paid
I think
off
it's
for
had that it's
viewers.
had that response too. A lot of people have said that we
Yeah,
kind of went to another level with this one.
yeah, yeah. And so hopefully, we keep that trend going upward,
Well,
in the
Summer
future.
said she said it was just like a movie, so that's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
nice.
yeah. It's great compliment. It really is. So it makes everything worthwhile, So
Yeah.
um, to just hear that kind of feedback. So
I mean, overall, I mean, there's always going to be criticisms, but
yeah,
overall, most people do enjoy the film, and that's always really nice,
yeah,
and
yeah,
and it and it's appreciative to know that someone likes the work that we did.
yeah, yeah. And it's fun. Like I say, I liken it to being able to play in the sandbox, and create. And for me, one of the most fun effects to work on in this film was the opening titles. That's always a kind of a fun thing to play with too. So there's just so many opportunities to have fun with this film. So
Yep, it was a lot of fun, that's for sure.
so yeah. Um,
Well, Brady, I want to thank you so much for. I think we've been talking now for what, 2 hours?
just about, I think. Yeah. Well, hey,
Yeah, I don't see a timer on my screen. It just says recording.
same
I
here.
don't I don't I'm surprised there is no timer. Yeah, there's not
Uh,
one here.
let's see. Yeah, it's not giving me one. So, but hey, you're having fun when time flies. So,
Yeah, it's really been flying too.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I hope I didn't keep you from work too long.
No, not at all. I planned for this. So this is my playtime. So,
Yeah.
So
Well, well, I certainly appreciate it. And one final question with animals being done, or we maybe we should just say with animals being abandoned, since since that seems to be the case with film.
yeah.
What's your overall feeling now that it's done and how it turned out and all that? What do you think, as far in terms of technically the message,
Yeah, yeah.
as a whole?
Well,
What would you say?
to finish the film, it was a little bit bittersweet because, as you know, we started filming this back in, I think it was 2017,
Yes.
4 years ago. So, uh, through all these years, it's always been on my mind. I need to get progress done on animals. So now it's like animals is done. It's like, oh, I think about it, but oh,
Yeah.
it's done. There's nothing to do, with
Yeah.
it, because it's done. So it's bittersweet in that sense, but it's fun to see it out there and people watching it and you know seeing the message that we have, and I think it's a great message, certainly very timely, and it certainly is in tune with what the show, what Star Trek's always about, which is a hopeful, positive future, And I what I love about the story is that um, it's the young girl that sees the prejudice and is basically telling the older generation, "Hey, you got to get past this," and we need to hear that today.
Yeah,
So
it's got a lot of messages in it, and that was one of the things how Presley represents uh the young and the more progressive way of thinking, that we can't stay this way. We need to
right,
embrace each other, love each
right,
other, move forward.
hmm
And that's one of the things when she has such a harsh reaction to him being prejudiced,
right,
and telling him that it's you're that it's obsolete.
yeah,
You can't
yeah,
think this way. It's
yeah,
and that's also my way of saying that the hope for a good future lies with our children,
right, yeah. I
because
agree.
she is a character that is pretty, she's not the norm in terms of
hmm
what we see.
Right, right.
And people might miss the point of, they might say, oh, this is not Star Trek, this is violent, this is but it's an exaggerated story. It's a
hmm
story about prejudice, and I just kind of wanted to do it in raw form.
Yeah,
So I would say it is exaggerated, but I think it's a reflection of just how harsh racism is.
right, yeah,
So
yeah,
I think we see kind of an extreme viewpoint of Star Trek, where most of the time in Star Trek we're not going to have people like the character Josiah plays.
sure,
I
sure,
mean, he's really extreme, but in this film, he's kind of the embodiment of racism.
right, right,
So you can't explain why people are racist sometimes. You can't understand it. And I kind of went on the viewpoint of I don't know why he's like this. But at
hmm
the same time, if there are people like that, there's always hope. We just have to choose to accept it.
right,
That's why, one comment said that I would have liked to seen if the guy changed.
yeah,
Well, that's always the question. Is there
right.
going to be change? So
Yeah, I feel like the ending of the film. I love the twist. That he was uh, fixed up by a dragon.
well, and I've gotten
Yeah.
I've gotten the response too that some will say, well, why did the alien help him?
hmm
Well, yeah, I'm of the mind that we don't need to force feed our audience
Right.
information all the time. I
Right.
feel like people are smart.
Yeah.
They can
And
figure out stuff.
it shows
Like,
too that the dragon is not this
well,
one-dimensional, space Hitler type character where all of them are bad space Nazis. They
well, yeah.
they have their own complexity and their own diversity too. So,
Well,
uh,
it all comes down to time constraints for one thing. Now, we could have tried to explain why he did it, but I just didn't think it
sure.
was necessary, because it was my real world example of not a whole race is bad.
Right. Right.
Now, he
Yeah.
came in and helped at the end. Now,
Right.
obviously, he don't have the same beliefs as the other ones.
Sure.
Maybe he's there to he's got this plan of, I'm going to try to fix this, and we need to prevent this from coming into war.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, film are just these wild, bloodthirsty aliens, but you can't lay the sins of a whole race on everybody. There's good in
Right.
everybody, and that's what he
Exactly.
represented. Good in everybody. There's
Yeah.
good people there.
Yeah.
So
And I
some
really
people have,
like that. Yeah.
yeah, and some people have picked up on that immediately. Like
Hmm.
a friend of mine watched it, and he goes, "Yeah, that just immediately said to me that not everybody's bad. They're still
Right.
good."
Yeah. Yeah. And on the
Really
flip,
didn't think we needed to explain that to people, because I think we should come at film from a viewpoint of our audience is intelligent. Human beings are intelligent. They
right.
can figure out things.
Yeah. Exactly.
I really don't want to make a film where I sit there and techno babble everything that's going on.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's part of watching a film too, is we need to engage our imagination a little bit. Maybe
Yeah.
imagine what this dragon came from, or on the flip side, where Josiah's character came from. What happened. We don't have to have it told to us all the time.
Well,
So
a lot of people will say, "Well, I want to know why he's so angry." And a
yeah,
lot of times in real life, people that hate don't have a reason.
right, exactly,
So
yeah,
I kind of looked at it. I came at it from an angle of, yeah, he's just hate. He just hates.
right.
There's no
But
real reason.
when you boil it down, hate is irrational anyway.
Yeah,
There's really no
there's no
reason for
reason.
it. Yeah,
And it's like, you remember early on we had Sally in there, and when she beams down, when she's in the transporter, she has black hair.
yeah, right.
Then when she beams down, her hair is silver,
Blondish,
blonde.
yeah,
Yeah. And I remember at first we discussed it, and you had said, well, we can use some kind of filter to change her hair.
uh-huh,
And I said, no. I said, why don't we just film a scene where she's touching her hair?
yeah, yeah,
And that's it.
right,
First, we considered changing it. Then we considered dialogue with her saying, my hair.
yeah,
And then I thought, well, I want to be respectful to the audience. Let's not treat the audience like they can't figure it out. I said,
right,
we'll just have her touch her hair. And that
yeah,
should be enough to tell people that there's a transporter accident and half the crew is gone. So why can't her hair have changed?
sure,
And somebody actually picked up on that. And I think it was Vance the first time he saw it. He
yeah,
picked it up on the meeting. He said, transporter changed her hair.
yeah,
And
that's great,
and
yeah.
when we had the preview, there were people typing, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, right.
So,
Yeah.
and,
Well, it's that thing is, some things you can sneak by the audience and they won't know. So
but I really think my own horn, but I really think just holding the hair was really kind of brilliant. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
right. Yeah,
I, because I like to be respectful of my audience, and Trek fans are smart anyway. So
right. Yeah,
why do we need him? And I don't want it to boil down into, everybody complains about techno babble. Everything's explained. One thing I like about our films is that we don't go to techno babble. We're just people. I
right,
mean,
right. Yeah. Yeah. Not everything has to be explained away, or
yeah,
you know,
I think that it'd be really boring filmmaking to have to explain everything to
it would.
everybody. That's just
Absolutely. Yeah, it's
yeah.
just bog it down.
Let's treat our audience like we are.
Right.
So, I just don't feel like everything should be explained. And you know where that comes from, Brady. That comes from current uh entertainment industry. Everything is force fed to you. Everything is
Yeah.
explained. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and
It's not a fun position to be in, and quite frankly, there's not a whole lot I like to watch anymore. That's
yeah.
newly produced. So, um,
Yeah,
it,
you and I always seem to turn back to the old.
yep, yeah, for sure. And it's a great legacy to look back at.
Yep.
Some really timeless storytelling, no matter how times change.
Yeah.
You know,
And
so
I feel good about animals. I think despite its shortcomings, that I think the message is will live on more than
yeah,
anything.
absolutely, yeah,
And it's our love letter to the original Star Trek.
right.
And for that, I'm proud of it.
Hmm.
I think we did
Yeah.
a good job.
Well, and I think the the interesting thing of this film is, it shows that the prejudice is very human across the board,
Hmm.
everywhere. So, and that's a very Star Trek thing to do. is flip the script a little bit,
And and when someone says, "Well, why did this alien help?" It kind of goes back to your thinking. So does that mean that you think that all is bad in one race or
right,
one
right,
nation? I mean, is that what you really think?
yeah,
So
right,
there's and even and I've told you this before, but even referencing the Bible with the character of Presley
yeah,
and how she's that hopeful character, and
right.
you brought up the scripture reading, which was what was that scripture you brought up? Something
Ooh.
about babies in the hands of.
Oh, from the mouth of babes, I think is what it is. Yeah,
She's that voice of wisdom, so
yeah,
there's a little bit of biblical inspiration behind her character too.
sure,
And she's just heck, she's as wise as the adults, or even more so.
right,
She see
yeah,
kids see. I went at it as kids see things in a pure form. They're
they
not
do.
clouded and
Yeah,
corrupt by all this other stuff.
right, right.
Racism is taught, so she she
It
she
really is.
she's
Yeah,
she's a voice of purity and wisdom,
yeah,
and she played the character so well. I'm
yeah,
really glad to have had her play
yeah.
this character.
Well, I can't speak highly enough of all the actors in the film.
Yeah,
Everybody on screen, everybody did
yeah,
great.
yeah. Sally
It's
was
just,
great.
yeah, yeah,
There's people that have written that they really felt bad for her.
yeah, yeah. You connected with that character.
Yeah, I felt bad for her when we were filming it.
Yeah, right, yeah,
You remember that last scene that we shot on location, and
yeah.
he was talking to her on the communicator, and I looked at you and I said, Brady, is he being too harsh to her? I said, I'm really starting to get worried about. It just seems like I feel really badly for her. Is how I really
Yeah,
felt.
yeah. But that is a great way to show that that kind of prejudice will blind you to being
Yeah,
sympathetic to
exactly.
everybody. So
You get it
yeah,
exactly, and
so
it. Sally being there is a testament to a failing that he'll
yeah,
have to live with all his life because he chose to
yeah,
make the wrong decision, or was
yeah,
it the right decision? But either
right,
way, he has to.
yeah,
You do things sometimes, and you can't take it back.
yeah.
It's
I
kind of
it,
what she.
it shows if you're willing to dehumanize one aspect of life, you're going to dehumanize every other aspect of life. To varying degrees. He wasn't rational to think through about her life because he's so focused on his hatred, or whatever. So,
So,
um,
question to you, Brady.
yeah,
Final question: what would you have done if you had been in his situation where she was injured?
I would put her on my back and walked, put her over my shoulders and marched.
Mm,
Um, that's that's the sacrifice you make. So, you know,
mm.
um, I don't know if that's right or wrong or what, but I don't
Well,
think I don't think I could leave somebody behind like that. Honestly.
it's kind of like
So
Spock said to Star Trek 4 when Kirk said, or Spock said, we have to go after Chekhov. And Kirk said, is that the logical thing to do? And he goes, no, but it is the human thing to do. So
right, yeah,
it would have
yeah,
probably been the human thing to do, but as far as the mission's concerned, it probably wouldn't have been the best thing to do or the logical thing to do.
sure,
I'm
and
sure if Josiah had been a Vulcan, he'd probably left her.
yeah, true, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of Star Trek. In one movie, we get that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one or the few. But in the other movie, we can say the exact opposite, because the needs of the one outweigh the needs of the many or the few. But they made that choice to sacrifice for him, for Spock. So
Yeah.
it's
And the
beautiful,
thing is,
So
it was a harsh situation, and
yeah,
maybe it wasn't good to leave her, but on terms of philosophy, her dying saved more lives than what could have happened if he'd have took her with her. And
that's true. Yeah,
but
yeah.
so
We don't know. We don't know.
yeah,
That's
but
the question.
I think science fiction is at its best when it raises questions and makes
Yeah,
you think about it. I
right.
think that's why I don't feel like everything should be answered, because it
Yeah,
should make you think and wonder and things like that. So
Right.
even if you get a negative reaction, oh, he was lousy, he left her, and all that, you get a reaction. So that's all
Yeah.
you can ask for when you
Right.
make a film, a
Yeah.
reaction, bad or good, or if you consider it bad. But
Yeah. And everybody has different viewpoints and experiences that inform those. So in life.
you
So
know, and some people are like, man, I wish she'd have lived. You know,
yeah, she's just a great character,
yeah,
But
I watch it, and I wish she'd have lived.
yeah, but don't we say that about anybody that passes, that we
Yeah,
know.
that's
So
true.
uh, you
But
know,
some people say when a character dies, I didn't really care. I didn't feel nothing. At least they felt for
yeah, true. Yeah,
her.
yeah. And which is great considering we don't really get a lot of screen time with her in the whole
and,
thing. So
and Sally, I don't think Sally had really acted very much from what she's told me.
mhm.
And she was just, God, she was just so natural, so good.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
I don't think I was there when you shot the scene where she was talking to him, because I don't remember too. I remember, I think I was helping the makeup girl with one of the Sukalon or the Dragon mask,
uh-huh.
and you took Sally off and shot that scene.
Okay, yeah.
And because I didn't remember, the first time I saw it was when it was in the film. And
Gotcha.
and
I see.
and I don't know. Did you offer her any direction? Because her whole reaction when she closed her eyes and she just looked terrible,
No,
terribly sad.
I don't I don't remember giving her really any direction. I think she was on the spot when
Yeah,
I mean,
she
like you said,
understood.
she's a natural, and she really picked up on what the script was trying to
Yeah, she
portray. So
understood exactly how to play
yeah,
that character. And
yeah.
I wish I could take the credit and say, oh, yeah, that was me. But that's not true.
No,
That's not
no.
true. She did a great job.
Yeah,
Everybody, the acting was the least of our problems on Animals.
yeah,
Everybody was really good.
yeah. It's nice to be able to roll camera and just let the actors perform.
Yep.
And with Sally in that situation, that she just was great.
If
So
I remember correctly, Brady, we didn't have any rehearsals, did we?
I don't think we did any. It was
No.
all on
Well,
set pretty much.
yeah,
So
maybe a
uh,
couple of quick reads when we got there, but we didn't have any rehearsals,
right, yeah.
which is
So
really rare.
yeah,
That for them
yeah,
to be as good as they were with no rehearsals.
yeah.
So
And for all of the talent to have the kind of chemistry that they had on screen, it worked out really nice. So
I could
uh,
make a whole movie with just Josiah and Presley. They were just
oh yeah,
really good
yeah,
together. And the
yeah,
fact that when they weren't on screen, they were still laughing and playing
yeah.
and all
Hmm.
that. Yeah, they were just
Yeah.
perfect together.
There's a shot in the film where you see Josiah and Presley kind of walking along. It's in the montage, and that was actually just me telling them to just walk, do your thing, and kind of getting them walking, and that
Yeah,
was
and
you know
Presley was just smiling and everything.
yeah, uh-huh.
And when I saw that scene, I kind of thought maybe that's a little bit out of character because they're just too happy there.
Oh yeah,
And
right, yeah,
but but it's okay because I
uh-huh.
mean human beings are really complex characters.
Right,
A lot of the
right,
times we don't understand why we feel or do things. So,
uh-huh.
you know,
Yeah,
it's possible to happen
yeah,
that way. So,
yeah. Well, there's a nice moment there where he helps her up too, where he takes her hand and helps her up over a rock or whatever. So
which,
um,
he's some people have said I don't even know if I liked him,
mhm.
but he's a redeeming character because despite what he feels, he's willing to put himself in front of her when there's an explosion and shield and protect her.
Right,
So
yeah,
he
yeah.
he has he
He's
and
complex.
that was my even though you might have these harsh feelings or whatever, it doesn't really diminish you as that don't mean that you're just irredeemable.
Right, right, yeah,
You can still be honorable
yeah,
and do good. So
yeah.
you
And
know
that's the great thing about the final shot in the film is you see it in his eyes, that maybe I need to readjust my thinking here. You kind of get
yeah.
a hint of that. So
I think
uh,
it would have cheated people to just see him. Oh yeah, I'm changed.
yeah,
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 change doesn't come too fast sometimes.
right, yeah,
And if he's been feeling that for a long time, it's not going to be an automatic.
yeah. Yeah, and in this case, he kind of gets hit by a sledgehammer in a sense of, oh, you know,
Well, I think that ending, when I wrote it, it was to be unexpected, and I think
yeah,
it came to a surprise to a lot of people because I remember when Craig showed it to his wife,
hmm
and her first reaction was, I was really surprised by the ending because I thought Starfleet was just going to beam in and take care of everything. So that
hmm
didn't happen. And I forgot, Brady. I know I said one more thing, but I have to ask you about this. The scene with Captain Jim.
yeah,
Uh, all we had on that was a green screen
right,
of him
yep,
sitting in the chair,
yeah,
and then we got the footage from Dan where he filmed the bridge shot.
right.
Uh, were you happy with the final shot on that? How it came out?
Yeah, I think considering how we had to get it, I'm happy with how it turned out. Of course, there's a few things I'd like to tweak if I could, but I think overall it's really turned out nice. So
Depending on how the green screen was shot, you can only tweak so much, can't you?
yeah, you can only take it so far, and then you kind of run into issues, but it depends. So
But
um,
I saw it, and I was kind of really impressed with it because I knew that it was like two separate shots. The background plate was different, and then
yeah.
Captain Jim was different. But the way it was blended together, it really came out well.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I'm happy with the end result, and you know, again, it's on a view screen too, so that kind of
yeah,
helps it a little.
and
So
Dan having the thought to add the actual actress in the background moving,
yeah,
that was a pretty. It gave that scene a whole different life. It kind of
yeah,
worked a lot better.
yeah. Well, I mean, again, this is a credit to all the people that work on these films.
And it's nice.
That Dan
Yeah,
would think about that. And
it's nice to know that everyone is out to help you make the best film that you can. So,
right, yeah,
I mean,
yeah. That's the beauty of this community that we have, and friends, and I guess the family that we have here. So
yeah, I mean,
uh,
we've had our knockout drag downs in some of the community, but
sure, yeah,
it's always my hope that these things can be worked out to where
yeah.
it would be great to be back in the family we had before. And
Yeah. Well, think about it. We're fans of a show about cooperating and getting along. Let's make it happen in real life
yeah,
too. So, uh,
well, thank you so much for sitting here talking to me, Brady. It's been a
thank you,
joy.
Michael.
This has been like, I feel like every time we have any kind of interaction, it's just so uplifting and fun. And
Absolutely.
you're
Yeah.
just that kind of person that you always remind me. And I'm terrible with my quotes from the Bible, but there's one that I always think about when I have any kind of dealings with you, and it's that you always let your light shine.
Well, thank you. I
and
appreciate
and
that. Thanks.
and that's one of the things in religion where I don't see a lot of that from people that claim to be,
Sure.
but you're always that light, you're always that beacon, and you've always been consistent, you've always been beautiful, and I love you to death, and I appreciate you more than you'll ever know.
Well, thank you, Michael. I appreciate you. Love you too. I mean, it's. I can't tell you what a highlight it's been to be able to work with you and to be a part of your vision. And bringing this to life and everything. And the best thing for me out of all of this is I get to spend time with you and call you my
Yeah,
friend. So
yeah.
it's just really been a blessing. It really
Well,
has. So
thank you. Thank the wife for me because I always feel a little bit bad that I keep you away from her.
oh.
And
We'll put her in the next film, right? Yeah.
yeah, would love to have her.
Yeah.
Maybe we can even
So
get the kids in there.
there you go. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. We've got plans that we're working on for another episode. Actually, a
uh,
few plans, but
yeah.
thank you, Brady. Take care of yourself. I don't. I guess you'll have to end the recording on your side.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'll cut it off and I'll send it to you. So
yeah, when you get a chance, yeah, send it to me, and
yeah.
I'm probably gonna just upload it in segments because it's pretty long to for one
Sure.
viewing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Make some episodes out of it, right?
yeah,
So
yeah, maybe
yeah.
it'll be our next episode.
Maybe it'll be it might be fun to segue to the cut scene. I don't know if you want to use it or not, but
Well,
uh,
I'm probably gonna have a B roll on some of
okay.
it. So
Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah.
But
So,
again, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. You're always so busy.
hey, this has been so much fun. I love it.
Yeah,
So,
this actually the first time in 7 years that we've done this, and this kind of nice.
yeah, yeah, it's great, and we need to hang out more. So for
Yeah.
sure. So,
Well, thank you so much. I
all right.
appreciate you.
Thank you, Michael.
Give
And
give your love to give my love to the family.
okay, yours too. Do it for us
I
too.
will.
All right.
All right.
I'll talk to you
Thank
later.
you.
Bye bye.
Take care.